5 years ago, on the evening of May 25th, 2020, the Minneapolis Police Department released a statement with the headline, "Man Dies After Medical Incident During Police Interaction," end quote. The statement reads in part, "On Monday evening, shortly after 8 p.m., officers from the Minneapolis Police Department responded to the 3700 block of Chicago Avenue South on a report of a forgery in process. Officers were advised that the suspect was sitting on top of a blue car and appeared to be under the influence. Two officers arrived and located the suspect, a male believed to be in his 40s, in his car. He was ordered to step from his car. After he got out, he physically resisted officers. Officers were able to get the suspect into handcuffs and noted he appeared to be suffering medical distress. Officers called for an ambulance. He was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center by ambulance, where he died a short time later," end quote. The unnamed man in his 40s who died of an apparent medical incident was George Floyd. And that initial police account was a lie, a flat-out, blatant lie. A lie which they were probably going to get away with if it wasn't for a teenager with a cell phone. Darnella Frazier was a 17-year-old at the time. She was walking to the corner store with her 9-year-old cousin when she witnessed a commotion outside the store, so she took out her phone and she hit record. Darnella Frazier did not capture George Floyd's suffering medical distress, as the police report stated. Darnella Frazier captured Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. She captured George Floyd crying out for his mother. She captured George Floyd's final words, "I can't breathe." She captured George Floyd's murder on camera. Darnella Frazier captured the truth. That took courage. She kept recording even as Officer Chauvin reached down and put his hand on his can of mace. She displayed more courage than the other police officers on the scene who could and who were legally and morally compelled to physically intervene but did not. Darnella's brave decision to hit record changed the trajectory of this case. It shifted public perception of what happened that day. It prompted a worldwide movement. I would say it led to justice for George Floyd, but true justice would be if George Floyd were alive today. Without Darnella Frazier's courage, the world probably would have believed that initial police account. And George Floyd's family may never have gotten any semblance of closure. But the thing is, it should not be the work of a 17-year-old civilian to hold law enforcement to account. A cell phone with a camera should not be our defense against police brutality. George Floyd was one of many, too many, unarmed black people who were killed by police in the last 10 years. Breonna Taylor, Daunte Wright, Tatiana Jefferson, Botham Jean, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Elijah McClain, Tyree Nichols. There's no way I could even get through the list. There are many more. But these are some of the names you know because there was either cell phone footage or police body camera footage or witness accounts of what actually happened to them, in many cases contrary to what the police said happened to them. We think of George Floyd's murder as the catalyst, but his death actually capped off a decade of high-profile, deadly interactions with police. It didn't end police brutality, but it did lead to some change and some accountability. When President Biden came to office, his Justice Department investigated or oversaw nearly a dozen local police departments accused of civil rights violations. It was an effort to reform local law enforcement agencies in the wake of so many high-profile killings. One of the investigations produced a scathing federal report that found that the Minneapolis Police Department routinely discriminated against black and Native American people and used deadly force without justification. After some of these investigations, the Biden administration made agreements known as consent decrees with police departments. A consent decree is a legally binding, court-enforced agreement. Basically, the Department of Justice identifies the problems within a police department and then sets new requirements around how police should be trained and disciplined and evaluates officer recruitment. An outside monitor and a judge ensure that the departments are complying with the consent decree, and this sometimes lasts for years. By and large, experts say consent decrees work. They're an effective tool for police reform. Many troubled police departments struggling to reform would not get the resources they need to update their policies and training without federal consent decrees. Well, the Trump administration doesn't see it that way. 4 days before the 5th anniversary of George Floyd's murder, Trump's DOJ announced it was abandoning oversight efforts of local police departments. Trump officials say they plan to drop the consent decrees made with Minneapolis, where George Floyd was murdered, and with Louisville, where Breonna Taylor was killed in a botched police raid. And they will close the civil rights investigations into several other police departments. So once again, it's one step forward, two steps back. It's like this administration is saying, why bother making sure our police departments are following the most basic civil rights requirements? What's the big deal? I guess those cell phone cameras are going to have to do for now. In 2021, 1 year after the death of George Floyd, Darnella Frazier, the 17-year-old with a cell phone, reflected on social media. She wrote in part, quote, "It made me realize how dangerous it is to be black in America. We shouldn't have to walk on eggshells around police officers, the same people that are supposed to protect and serve." She adds, "A lot of people call me a hero, even though I don't see myself as one. I was just at the right place at the right time. Behind this smile, behind these awards, behind the publicity, I'm a girl trying to heal from something I'm reminded of every day." Everyone talks about the girl who recorded George Floyd's death, but to actually be her, is a different story.